So obviously I put out a poll last night asking what people are doing. Are you freaking out, crying, hiding, or are you taking advantage of these opportunities? Is this in fact the time to buy ADA? We're going to talk about that because right now we're seeing something that has actually happened exactly the same way not that long ago, pointing to the fact that this may not be a bad opportunity to buy ADA. And I do want to talk about some good news that did come out as well as a community comment asking me when I might in fact be bearish on ADA. So if you guys are new or haven't already, make sure you hit that subscribe button down below, hit that bell again. It's free to do. It'll keep you updated anytime there's new content live here on the channel. So looking at ADA right now, we're still kind of bouncing 80, 86, 87, 88 cent. We're just kind of waiting for our direction confirmation for the day. We're probably going to see just a lot of this chop as the day goes on. Obviously, nobody knows what's going to happen for sure. And then we may have that trend shift once we get to about 6 o'clock Central Standard Time. That is about the moment that overseas money wakes up, starts to set the overnight direction. And then basically everything's going to be a whirlwind on Monday. We don't know what to expect. We don't know how the stock market's going to react. We'll just have to patiently sit on our hands, wait and see how the market digests this news. Now, what's interesting is, people have asked me, I understand that I am not a maxi. I am not a perma bull or anything like that. I'm a macro bull. I believe in the macro cycle. We've seen these shakeouts, these people trying to manipulate the market time and time again. And all it's done is given us more opportunities to accumulate cheap prices, right? Now, what I will say is if ADA confirms this trend to the downside, if it really starts targeting this 200-day moving average in a big way, if we start to fall through these supports, if we see long-term convicted holders start to unload their bags, that is when I have questions, right? We look at fundamentals a lot, and one of the biggest things that precedes these moves is those type of fundamental changes. We're not seeing those changes right now. So yes, I am still bullish on ADA. I still believe that ADA in the near term is going to make some nice movements to the upside. And in fact, there is something suggesting this may be a great opportunity to accumulate more ADA and add more to your position. Now, obviously, this isn't a guarantee. I'm not telling you guys what to do. But what's very interesting is we've seen this exact same thing play out a year ago. All right. When we look back at what was taking place in the early part of 2024, ADA had gone on a very exciting run to the upside. It ran all the way up to 68 cents for the people that don't remember. Then we started our correction, right? It peaked in the middle of December. We started to fall basically through January. January kind of sucked. At that time, if you guys remember, what we were dealing with was unloading from grayscale in terms of spot Bitcoin ETFs. It caused BTC to drop to the downside. Alts were getting drugged with it. That was the thing at the time. That was the big bearish sentiment. Oh, we're going to keep dropping, right? It's all the same, okay? What's interesting is that we saw ADA do something very similar. It actually broke below its 20 and its 50-day moving averages. We started to putz around our 100-day moving average, and then we got a couple things happening here. We had a breach. Some people were bearish. Then we flipped around and started to work our way back to the upside. At the same time, we actually saw our 20-day cross our 50-day moving average. Again, this isn't necessarily a bearish sign or anything like that. It's just a short-term momentum change. We saw RSI approaching this oversold range, and we actually saw it below the signal line, right? MACD following a very similar trend there. But this is actually the moment where the market planted its foot in the ground and started to flip around to the opposite side because guess what? We were very oversold. We were sitting on top of support. We saw a conviction step in, and then we saw ADA go on a nice 70+% rally to the upside. All right. Fast forward to now. Look at how similar this trend is. Here, let me see if I can pull this up here. All right. ADA breaking down from our December highs, right? Going down, touching our 100-day moving average, kind of putzing around here. I actually had a breach today, right? We're having our 20-day about to cross our 50-day moving average. We're going to get that confirmation over the next 24 hours unless we have like a massive spike to the upside, right? Still not even close to our 200-day moving average. RSI below the signal line, approaching the oversold range. MACD crossed on the bearish side below the signal line. It's crazy how much this is mimicking exactly what happened back here. All right. Now, does this mean it's going to play out the exact same way? No. But what's interesting is, the market cycle, it tends to mimic itself. It tends to be very consistent time after time. That's a song, right? So, for example, if we follow this similar structure, this is, I think, right about there. That's about what we did, this little breach. And what that means is, again, very soon, ADA could in fact be targeting somewhere in that $1.80 range, $1.50 range, $2 range, right? Now, again, this isn't a guarantee or financial advice, but again, look at the fundamentals. Compare them now to what they were at that point in 2024. They're the same. We're seeing whales step in. We're seeing conviction from holders. We're seeing people take advantage of these opportunities. In fact, if we look at like the indicators, for example, I think there was a buy zone. Yeah, buy zone that flashed just yesterday, right? I mean, these things, they tend to be consistent time after time after time, and yet people seem to keep getting confused about what's happening. All right. Now, there is some good news that is in fact coming out for Cardano, and it's really a shame that a lot of this is getting overlooked because the charts are doing what they're doing. So this was actually announced by Crypto R Us yesterday, and I think yesterday. And what he said was Hedera, along with Cardano, are working on a digital ID system. They have a joint thing. They're talking with the Department of Government Efficiency. Now, we did have this conversation that the Department of Government Efficiency is exploring public blockchains. And the great news is that a digital ID system is something that Cardano does in fact have experience with. If you guys remember, the defunct, quote unquote, defunct project that took place in Africa now is currently ongoing in Argentina. They're doing a digital ID system there as well. Now this may become a thing here in the US as well. So Cardano may get major government integration. Obviously, we've already talked about the fact it's currently being used by NASA, but that actually may in fact increase over time. And there will be a moment where these things are actually reflected by the crypto market. It's just not today. All right. It's not yesterday. Unfortunately, the negative sentiment, the fear amongst the retail crowd, it's setting in a big way. And although that's created some short-term direction changes, understand that when retail gets excited once again, once we start to see this crypto fear greed index start to go back on the rise, we start to approach the greed range, we start to see assets pump, that is when that stuff is going to have a much bigger impact. And it tends to have bigger impacts the later we get in this market cycle. So I just wanted to share that with you guys. It's crazy how similar this is. Again, this is where me personally, I am actually quite bullish on these moves ahead, because last time ADA went on a very sharp rise to the upside. In fact, over the course of, I think it was just about 7 days, 6 days, 7 days, it actually rose 20%. Okay. 20% rise in terms of ADA would be back over $1. So maybe something to pay attention to. I'm not saying that this is going to happen once again, but they tend to mimic themselves time and time again. What do you think is going to happen from here? So I appreciate you guys. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Let me know your thoughts. What are you doing here? Are you accumulating? Are you scared and freaking out about what's taking place? But have a great day. Show your love below. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Take care.